what's up guys? We will be learning about some theories in learning and training that observed by some of the influential philosophers. Do you want to know what's all about this theory? So watch this video and learn. He discovered a type of learning that had a major influence on the school of thought in psychology known as behaviorism, and he was Ivan Pavlov. Ivan Pavlov was a Russian psychologist, which is a bit of ironic due to the fact that he was a major influence in the field of psychology, especially in behaviorism. One of the theories he discovered was called classical conditioning. Classical conditioning is a learning process that occurs through association between an environmental stimulus and naturally occurring stimulus. In Pavlov's classical experiment with dogs, the neutral signal was the sound of a tone and the naturally occurring reflex was salivating in response to food. By associating the neutral stimulus with the environmental stimulus, the sound of a tone alone could produce the salivation response. How does classical conditioning works? In order to understand how more about classical conditioning works, it is important to become familiar with the basic principle of the process. Classical conditioning involves forming an association between two stimuli resulting in a learned response. Now you know.
So, what type of psychology that offers a theory of personality? So, humanistic psychology is an attempt to help people to achieve their full potential. It maintains that people are fundamentally good. So, Rogers, in his classical work, client-centered therapy, so he carefully analyzed the human behavior in general, including the learning process. So this type of counseling strives to create non-judgmental environment by being open and honest, accepting and empathetic. So the term empathy is the ability to being recognized and feel the emotional of others. So it is putting yourself to other people and recognize their feelings and emotion as well, so that study the whole person as a physical and cognitive, but primarily emotional being.
Good afternoon everyone. Here's my report about Rogers' humanistic psychology theory. Hope you all understand. Rogers' humanistic psychology theory. Carl Rogers, 1902 to 1987, was a humanistic psychologist who agreed with the main assumptions of Abraham Maslow. However, Rogers, 1959, added that for a person to grow, they need an environment that provides them with genuineness, openness and self-disclosure, acceptance, being seen with unconditional positive regard, and empathy, being listened to and understood. Without this, relationships and healthy personalities will not develop as they should, much like a tree will not grow without sunlight and water. There is one perspective that Carl Rogers believed: self-actualization. Rogers believed that every person could achieve their goals, wishes, and desires in life. When, or rather if they did so, self-actualization took place. This is one of Carl Rogers' most important contributions to psychology, and for a person to reach their potential, a number of factors must be satisfied. In self-actualization, for Carl Rogers, this is the one of most important in people's life for them to achieve their longings in life. Rogers have his humanistic perspective on personality. As you can see, there is a three circles and the center is self, and both sides is individual and environment. which means your self depends on environment where you can gain some knowledge and important information, while individual where you can have someone who will cheer and motivate you. Carl Rogers is more than client-centered therapy rather than patient. He was focused on the therapeutic relationship and developed a new method of client-centered therapy. Was one of the first to use the term client. Carl Rogers have his 5 aspects of theory. The first one is phenomenology and the self, the phenomenal field. The second one, the organism and the actualizing tendency. The third is the ideal self, congruence and incongruence. The fourth is personality development and conditions for growth. And the last one is the fully functioning person. For some additional information about Carl Rogers humanistic psychology emphasized the active role of the individual in shaping their internal and external world. Rogers advanced the field by stressing that the human person is an active, creative, experiencing being who lives in the present and subjectively responds to current perceptions, relationships, and encounters. He coined the term actualizing tendency, which refers to a person's basic instinct to succeed at his or her highest possibility capacity. Through personal-centered counseling and scientific therapy research, Rogers formed his theory of personality development, which highlighted free will and the great reservoir of human potential for goodness. And also, Rogers believed that all behavior is motivated by self-actualizing tendencies which drive a person to achieve at their highest level. As a result of their interactions with the environment and others, an individual forms a structure of the self or self-concept, an organized, fluid, conceptual pattern of concepts and values related to the self. If a person has a positive self-concept, they tend to feel good about who they are and often see the world as a safe and positive place. If they have a negative self-concept, they may feel unhappy with who they are. And by the way, guys, the phenomenal field refers to a person's subjective reality, which includes external objects and people as well as internal thoughts and emotions. The person's motivations and environments both act on their phenomenal field. The good life. Rogers described life in terms of principles rather than stages of development. These principles exist in fluid processes rather than static states. He claimed that a fully functioning person would continually aim to fulfill the good life. Rogers described life in terms of principles rather than stages of development. These principles exist in fluid processes rather than static states. He claimed that a fully functioning person would continually aim to fulfill his or her potential in each of these processes, achieving what he called the good life. These people would allow personality and self-concept to emanate from experience. He found that fully functioning individuals had several traits or tendencies in common. There is a 7, and the last one. Rogers based his theories of personality development on humanistic psychology and theories of subjective experience. He believed that everyone exists in a constantly changing world of experiences that they are at the center of. A person reacts to changes in their phenomenal field, which include external objects and people as well as internal thoughts and emotions. Rogers based his theories of personality development on humanistic psychology and theories of subjective experience. He believed that everyone exists in a constantly changing world of experiences that they are at the center of. A person reacts to changes in their phenomenal field, which includes external objects and people as well as internal thoughts and emotions.